Discover connection, awaken sacredness, become empowered. Join us for our show on Blog Talk Radio. Discover your spiritual gifts live.
Welcome to Discover Your Spiritual Gifts show number 56. We're your hosts, Dave and
Vialet.
Our guest today is Joy Elaine. Joy Elaine is an author, speaker, and one of the foremost experts in the world on the Ashtar Command, as well as mythical creatures that are real. Joy has her fingers on the pulse of the evolving Earth and has a profound understanding of the nature of the 47 universes and many of the races that inhabit them. 3 decades of immersion into esoteric teachings and multiple forms of energy modalities, past life regression, Akashic record reading, shamanism, angelic healing, and SVH, Serenity Vibration Healing, have given Joy the background as well as the tools and techniques to be able to bring forth the information for the Joy Chronicles. Well, welcome, Joy. Thank you for being on the show.
Hey, thanks for having me. I'm glad to meet Violet. I'm glad to see you again, Dave.
Oh, it's always a joy. You've been so many places, so to speak. Let's talk about your background a little bit. How did you get started in this? Why did you start journeying, so to speak?
Well, in my 40s, I went to a seminar for a nutrition business I have, and we were supposed to write out goals for different areas of our life. And I could come up with wonderful goals for my physical health and my family and my business, but I came up with an absolute zero on spiritual goals. And I thought, oh, maybe that's something I should take a look at. So that started an intense exploration of different forms of healing and energy and study and, basically, why am I here? What am I supposed to be doing? Which, 40 was a good enough time to finally come around to that thinking. A lot of young people nowadays are thinking about that in their 20s, and so I applaud them. But better late than never. So in 2003, I came across the Serenity Vibration Healing work that you mentioned, and it affected me so wonderfully that it's been my focus since then. And as you mentioned in my intro, it's given me some tools, some really esoteric tools to be able to do time travel. I guess you could call it time travel because I work in the past and in the future. I get information from the future. I'm able to take my energy body to different realms, different dimensions. And it's been fascinating what I learned when I stepped aboard with my energy body. I stepped aboard an Ashtar Command ship in 2014. And the conversations that ensued were so fascinating to me that I really realized that I had to write about what I was told. So imagine that I'm sitting on my sofa in my front room and I focus part of me, if you could think of like Beam Me Up Scotty, only, part of me stays on my sofa, my physical body, but my energy body moves to the Ashtar Command ship because I had put together some energy work to assist what they were doing to assist the Earth. So it's really cool. I get to talk to, his name was Ashtar Commander Tonas, and we converse just like you and I are talking. I mean, I hear him that clearly. So it's pretty fascinating when you find out that this guy who's strikingly handsome and he looks like he's 30 years old is over 25 million years old. I'll say that again. 25 million years old. And I thought, oh, so I don't know if you know about the Ashtar Command. Have either of you heard of the Ashtar Command, Violet?
Oh, yeah.
Do you know?
Yeah, but a lot of our listeners may not have. So share some information about that for people.
Okay, well, they are non-dual individuals, all right, and that's extremely important. Non-dual. What is non-duality? Well, Earth is a dual world, all right, and we are of duality. Humanity has always existed in duality, and we know what duality is. We know that the ups and downs, the goods, the bads, the hots, the cold. You know, the opposites. Okay, non-duality, all good. Instant manifestation. Okay, you think about something and it's there. There's no time lag. There's no resistance to creation. Perpetually regenerating bodies. That's why at 25 million years old, he was the youngest member of the Ashtar Command. So I thought, well, that sparked my interest right away. You know, perpetually regenerating bodies. And I could just say, come out and say it, no death. For non-duality. So when I learned that it's possible that Earth is moving in that direction, I thought, sign me up. I'm all for that. You know, I'm 75, and the old paradigm of my life, which is maybe for many people listening, was, well, you're born, you may have some fun, you learn things, you get old, you probably get sick, and then you die. See, that's the old paradigm. Well, the new paradigm is that's a different options. Now, I'm not saying that everybody will tune into this new possibility. Some people will go, oh, well, you know, that's not possible. And they'll just go ahead and, you know, do that old paradigm. And that's fine. It's all divine. Everybody ends up in a wonderful place anyway. But that's not my choice. When you're talking about spiritual gifts, you know, the spiritual gifts that are our destiny, things like the instant manifestation I mentioned, teleportation, telepathy, all the clairs, the clairaudience, clairvoyance, clairsentience, those are non-duality. Those are in our future. And so I wanted to give people an idea of a different possibility of this new paradigm where they can be more aware of what's going on. First of all, if you read the Joy Chronicles, I start talking about this possibility, about what the masters, the Ashtar Command, for example, are allowed to do to sisters. First of all, prime rule is you can't advance a species beyond their readiness. Sounds like Star Trek, right? Well, it's a big rule, and the Galactic Councils of Light, there are 8 primary ones, the Andromedan Council of Light, and 7 others. They enforce those rules, and the cool thing is the non-dual people obey those rules, okay? So they're very careful about, for example, if you see an alien spaceship, you're not seeing an Ashtar Command ship. They hide. They're not supposed to be seen, all right? But the roles of duality, like the Pleiadians, for example, are not, they try to get away with what they can get away with, all right? And if they can get away with it, they do. Now, the Ashtar Command is kind of like a watchdog, right? At the time in 2014, when I stepped aboard that ship, there were 86 million command ships stationed around Earth. What were they doing? They were watching. Because Earth, folks, Earth is the happening place, right? Humans are the youngest race in all of the universes, all right? And we are moving out of duality. It's exciting. Everybody wants to see what's Earth going to do next, you know? Now, all this chaos that we're going through currently, well, you know, if you focus your attention on that, you're going to feed it. So stay calm, stay neutral, stay in your heart, and just see all this stuff, all this, whatever we're going through, just see it going away. Make your choice to focus on peace for yourself, you know. Ashtar Command non-dual, so they follow all the rules, and so what are they allowed to do? Well, they're allowed to support us energetically, emotionally. You know, when you make these higher choices, they know. I mean, Tonos told me he could see from the 10th dimension above Earth. That's where I first met him. He could focus his ship to see an ant on Earth. All right. I mean, I thought, whoa, okay. So, they're aware of what's going on. And what can they do? Well, first of all, they can block asteroids from obliterating us, right? Along work with people in the inner earth, the Agarthans. They can patrol the Pleiadians so they don't abduct people that don't have their Pleiadian genetics. That's a big deal. Because the Pleiadians do abduct over 100,000 people a year. Well, why is that allowed? Well, 120,000 years ago, when humans started getting souls, now I'm not saying that there weren't humanoid people before that, but humans didn't start getting souls until about 120,000 years ago. And at that time, the Galactic Council of Light said, everybody has to get off. The Pleiadians had contributed some of their genetics to early humans, along with some other races of duality. So those people, those humans that carry those genetics are allowed, the Galactic Council of Light, they petition, the Pleiadians petition the Galactic Council of Light to be able to monitor their people with their genetics. And so that's still allowed. It's not that they need to do that, but Commander Ashtar told me, well, if they stop now, the Galactic Councils will say, well, you don't need to do that anymore, so you can't. So 120,000 years they've been abducting humans. So this is why I don't work with the Pleiadians. Now, I'm not saying that there are not wonderful Pleiadians. They're just like humans. I mean, there's great ones. There are worlds of duality. So, if you're working with Pleiadians, you want to be very discerning. You want to, stay working with the highest beings of light, beings that don't have an agenda, because people of duality have agendas and the non-dual beings don't. So who are non-dual beings? Well, the Ashtar Command. People live on Sirius, the Andromedans, the Arcturians, the Lyrans. I know those worlds are non-dual. Half the worlds in our universe are non-dual, but the other half are dual. So that's a little bit of background on the Ashtar Command. There's more than 86 million ships now, because there are Joy Councils in all the universes. And once the universe, the representatives of the universes started stepping forward in the book 2 that I wrote, of the Joy Chronicles, Blossoming of Love, they started stepping forward because they wanted to have the benefits of the transmissions that Ashtar Commander Tonas and I did in the first book, Path of Sweetness. I started working with the Galactic Council of Light to send transmissions to Earth up to assist us. And here's the cool thing about the books. In the back of every book, there's a paragraph that explains how you can take part in those transmissions. So that's your chance to put your vote in about what happens for Earth. All right? We are the ones that live here. We are the ones that get to decide where Earth goes and how she gets there. Does that make sense to you guys?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I've always heard, Joy.
I mean, if we're called, some people like, well, come.
Did we lose her?
What? Yep. Lost you for a minute. Are you there?
I can hear you. There you go.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
I've always heard,
So
Joy, that lots of
what
people
your
want to come to
question,
Earth.
Violet?
Yes. We're breaking up.
Yeah, they do, because like I say, the people that are duality have agendas. It would be great to control this world, with our crystals and our gold and those kinds of things. Those resources would be very appealing to, for example, Pleiadians. That's why they create it for them. They want to see. So now, I'm not saying that all dual worlds are bad, but think about humans. We, even our best efforts, sometimes we think we're helping, and wow, what are we doing? We're just making things worse, right? the non-dual races are very careful. They don't allow themselves to be seen. They support, they follow the rulings of the galactic councils about what they're allowed to do, and so that's the way it is. I've seen alien spaceships. My brother has seen an alien spaceship. I'm sure a lot of people have, but they're not the Ashtar Command people. There's just lots of stuff going on. Earth is like a what are we doing? How are we going to evolve the way we are? And the good news is we are evolving. Gia, the essence of the consciousness of Earth, is her name, Gia, and she's on the Joy Council that I work with. And she told me third dimension of Earth is no longer part of Earth. That dimension moved away from Earth in 2009. Now, why did it do that? Well, because enough humans are making higher choices in their life that older, lower, slower energy of survival of the fittest, eye for an eye, tooth for tooth, are not people on Earth who are still hanging on to that kind of mentality, But third dimension's gone. Fourth dimension's gone. That left in 2015 of fifth and sixth dimensions. And what's going to happen is as we progress, as we make higher choices in our life, as we, just are kinder to ourselves and other people, as we read the Joy Chronicles, as we become more aware of what's happening, as we say, I'm voting for this, then we're going to keep continually losing that lower dimensions. Fifth dimension will eventually drop off. My goal is to live as non-dual in seventh dimension. And I am currently, the masters that I'm working with tell me that I'm sliding back and forth from 6 into 7. So living as non-dual was going to be a learning curve. They said probably 3 years take me to fully develop my abilities, but teleportation, those wonderful things that I talked about, when we first started talking, those are going to be possible for me and a select group of us that have been working with the masters diligently for several years now. And so it's doable, What's the first non-dual dimension for Earth? 8th dimension. All right. But you can live as non-dual in 7th dimension. In 8th dimension, all elements of Earth are restored to their purest level. There's no pollution. There's, earth, the air, the land, the waters is perfectly pure. All the creatures that we've killed are brought back. Gia told me that. So even though the fairies and the dragons and those quote mythical creatures that you mentioned at the beginning, Dave, even though they are existing now, they're existing off dimension from where humans are. And you can imagine that that's to protect them. All right. If humans are on 5 and 6, then the others are on 7 or 8, or 7, or 5.2 or 6.7, just off enough so that some people can see fairies, but most people don't, right? And that's just to keep them safe. So in the 8th dimension, we're interacting with the dragons and the fairies because everything's non-dual. There's no death. We're not killing dragons. We're not capturing fairies and doing all the stuff that we've done in the past. So have I said enough that you're kind of perked up about, you got any questions for me now?
Well, I would ask, do they give you a sense of the timeline? Are we talking 2 years, 5 years, 10 years, 20 years?
Well, for some people, it could be 100 years.
Mm-hmm.
For others, it could be 20. I mean, it's possible if you've been walking the spiritual path for a long time, if you've cleared up your karma, if you're working your dharma, if you're, talking to people from your heart, if you're doing those kinds of things, you're you're already on a mastery path. All of us are. I mean, it's the cool thing is that everybody's doing it, even if they don't know that they're doing it. But here's the fun thing. If you're more aware of what you're doing, if you're more aware of your actions, if you're more consciously choosing to evolve, how much more fun is that?
Mm-hmm.
Rather than just, okay, another day I get up and go to my job. I come home and I watch television and I go to bed.
Mm-hmm.
Which is, honestly, that's how I did much of my life.
Mm-hmm.
I did things I enjoyed and I felt good about, but I really wasn't awake. I wasn't aware, but more people are awake, are waking up. They're
Mm-hmm.
looking at it going, hey, I hate this job. I'm going to find something I really like.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to start listening to my heart. That's, the masters say we're moving from a sexually oriented planet to a heart consciousness planet. So we're starting to follow our hearts. We're starting to speak from our hearts. We're starting to listen to our hearts. The cranium brain is wonderful. It's a computer. It can map out, it knows all the possibilities for anything that's going to possibly happen and guide you in the right direction, keep you safe. But it does not have the smarts or the wisdom that the heart does.
Mm-hmm.
I think even Einstein said that. You can't, something about the level of consciousness, you can't solve a problem from that. I don't know if he's talking about the cranium brain, but you can't think, solve it that way. So, that's new thinking for a lot of people because we're taught to look for what's wrong.
Yeah.
Right. And boy, the more you do that, the more bad stuff you get. That's still a challenge for me. I'm finding something I don't like, and if I focus on that, boy, I'm going to get more of that, what I don't like.
Mm-hmm.
So, instead of being afraid of what's happening now, you got to move out of that fear. That's one of the recent blogs that I did with Commander Ashtar. He said, moving out of this fear, saying no and seeing that this situation is gone, seeing it over with the COVID stuff. One of my blogs has a Serenity Vibration Healing shield in it for COVID so that you don't have to worry about getting any of the variations of it. I thought that was really cool gift for people. Now, I'm still wearing a mask because I can't go into buildings here that if I don't have a mask on, so I'm wearing it. But I'm not worried about getting COVID. Mm-hmm. I'm not going to get a shot. I'm saying to people, you follow your heart about what you do with that. I'm not advising people to do anything about that, whether to get the shot, not to get the shot, follow your heart about that. But I'm choosing not to.
Well, in talking to these high vibration beings, what is their view on why we did end up with this pandemic happening now?
Well, I don't ask questions that I don't want to have the answers to. But enough has been kind of hinted at that I really don't even want to talk much about this today, but I'll say that it was planned. So it's not a good thing, but we have a choice. We're powerful people. We can choose that this does not affect us. That this is, you're saying no to this. Mm-hmm. It's focusing on what you want. Seeing yourself, seeing the communities brought back to even better than they were before. And I think that's very possible because I'm more connected with my neighbors now than I was before. Mm-hmm. Speaking to them as I'm taking a walk up and down the street or, just being more aware of what's happening in my neighborhood. Mm-hmm. I'm just so fortunate, Dave. I'm fortunate to be able to work with the masters that I work with, people like Osiris, Sananda, Hathor, Horus, Gia, Commander Ashtar, Commander Tonas, a lot of ascended masters, a lot of Native American people that came to the council for a period of a year or so, and then they felt like they would be better served to move back to Earth to support energetically the tribes. The Native Americans first of all, they're not Native Americans. They all came from the stars. Every Native American tribe came from the stars to experience duality and to help humans. Mm-hmm. So we've got some changes to do with regard to the Native peoples. I'm talking about, as well as the Aborigines, the Inuit, Dogon, other tribes that people may not be aware of. They were non-dual beings. They wanted to experience duality. They came here 100,000 years ago or 120,000 years ago. And they taught humans, early humans may not have survived without their assistance, because they taught them about husbandry for animals. They taught them about how to build dwellings beside caves. They taught them about, trading things, a lot of skills that early humans did not have. So it's time to, and I see that happening slowly, but it's time to recognize the indigenous peoples of Earth. The gifts that they have, the connection that they have to Earth is what many of us have lost. That awareness of nature, of being close to nature. I mean, this is our home. This is where we live. Earth is our home. And the best ways to honor her, to do your own part for living a clean life.
Okay.
So Violet, what kind of questions do you have? Do you have anything more to ask me?
Well, I think it's time for a break, and then I'll come back and ask my questions. Dave,
okay.
You can take us out on a break, and then we'll come back because I do have a question or two.
Okay, we'll be right back after a few messages about Discover Your Spiritual Gifts. So stay with us.
Hi, I'm Violet Rain, Master and Teacher of Sacred Priesthood in the Mystery Schools here at Discover Your Spiritual Gifts. This is a program that I offer about once a year. We take on students to start this program. It's an 18-month program, which means there are 13 classes. We teach a class once a month, and we skip months with holidays. And on this path, men and women can come together to become sacred priests and sacred priestesses of the Order of Melchizedek. The Order of Melchizedek is the oldest sacred priesthood on this planet. It was mentioned in the Bible and still exists today. This is about walking a path of beauty, sacredness, and service. It's about learning how to be a magical creator of your own life and using the universal mysteries to create whatever type of life that you're looking for. This path is filled with magic, about learning prosperity, about creating, about sacred geometry, about Kabbalah, about learning about the ascended masters, the archangels, the elementals, including dragons and fairies and unicorns and the mermaids. It brings all that universal wisdom together to create a way for everyone to have that joyful and abundant life that they've always wanted. I hope that you will check out our website under classes and look for Mystery School or look for Sacred Priesthood and find out more about these classes and what we have to offer. I look forward to seeing you in class, and I hope to see you really soon at Discover Your Spiritual Gifts.
Well, welcome back to Discover Your Spiritual Gifts. Our guest is Joy Elaine, talking about all her experiences going out among the star people and learning about what's in store for us. So, as we left, Violet has some questions here.
I do. I have lots of students and clients and, community that ask questions about how do I learn more about the stars and the star seeds? Where can I go to find those resources to learn about the history and these different groups of people? Because what I find is a lot of people have no idea. And when they start to open up to the fact that we're not alone, that there's so much more to this, they're hungry to find that information. So, Joy, what would you tell them?
Well, there's a lot of information on my website. I've done some world missions, which are 4 or 5 minute recordings that are interactive, that people actually can take part in. Some of the things like, help pure air, pure water, assisting our elders, hugging a tree. Those are ways that you can get involved. the blog information, I have probably 40 or 50 articles there that talk about genies, that talk about the fairies, talk about, you know, the masters that I work with. So if you're a reader, you know, I think that would be very helpful. They're all free, no charge for any of that. The books that I sell, there's 6 books that I self-published. They're on my website. You can take you directly to Amazon to purchase them there. And of course, they're eclectic. I mean, I'm talking about things like Stonehenge, Noah, Nessie, the star tribes, the people that I've met, the people with 2 heads, the people that look like lions, the people that look like fish, you know, people. And I've never seen anything that looked like Jabba the Hutt. But you know, most of these quote aliens, they look human. The humanoid's body is very appealing, you know, to use as a model, as a template. So yeah, there's some of people are green, or some are blue. You know, the genies are blue. Osiris, who's is teal colored. Isis is a light blue colored. So, you know, you see these pictures of the blue people, and that is a race of galactics. So I think my website is a good resource. And then what else? Your inner knowing. All right. Connecting to your higher self. That part of you that knows everything, that knows you're a master. You know, sitting in meditation for just a few minutes, you don't have to go all zen, you don't have to sit in lotus position, you just sit quiet, get quiet for a few minutes every day. And listen to what your heart says, you know. And if it's something feels really good, it feels like, wow, this is fun, I'm enjoying it, then do that. Those are really simple rules of thumb to follow. You know, if you feel like you're having a great day, then just ask for more great days.
I love that. And I love that we're part of going forward, that we can be part of this. So I love that as well. It sounds like in your discussions that we can have people on Earth at different dimension levels, right? So not everybody's going to be at the same level. Will there come a time as Earth evolves and changes where at least we'll be at similar levels, or
eighth dimension
to a different
nothing can move into eighth dimension that has elements of duality in it. So when eighth dimension is Earth's first pure non-dual dimension, we got people that are, you know, in 5. We got people that are in a blend of 5 and 6. I'm in a blend of 6 and 7, and my goal is to move into 7 sometime in the next year, completely into 7th dimension. It's possible to. I'm going to teleport to one of my favorite restaurants in San Francisco. You know, I'm going to visit my friend in France by just, you know, hopping over there.
I love that.
That's possible for everyone. Yeah, that's, you know, when I found out that the fairies exist, for example, I thought, gosh, people have to know that they really are real. The fairies want people to know we're real. You know. And one of my blog articles takes you crystalline windows into the fairy gardens, because first of all, you don't go into a fairy garden unless you're invited. I mean, it's kind of like Godzilla trampling around in a garden of humans that walk in there. I mean, they're only 2 inches tall, right?
Right.
So and without the fairies, here's what he had told me: without the fairies, Earth would be a dead planet, be just a ball of mud. Because they support every green thing, every growing thing, and they support the animals too. And they're even supporting humans now. They weren't doing that when I first, started talking with us. In the first book, I made a fairy that I knew as a little girl, and I forgot. I moved away from that farm, and I forgot that I even played with fairies. So it was a heartfelt emotion that I remember when I remembered that, yes, I've been climbing the trees and hanging on the trees with the fairies. That's why I was so devastated when we moved from that farm, because the fairies stay in their garden. And I moved just a mile down the road, but it was a different fairy garden. So I wasn't interacting with those fairies, and I knew, and I couldn't tell my parents. I couldn't tell them why I couldn't leave that place. Don't make me move. I want to stay here. And of course, I was 9 years old, and so I had to move. But
Right.
so when I reunited with Shalai at the end of this first book, The Path of Sweetness, it was incredible. Now, little kids and babies see fairies, all right? And little kids who are more open to seeing things like that will see them. But humans, we grow up and we think, well, that's not true. And first of all, I want to make sure that you know that there's no such thing as a bad fairy. Never, ever, ever. They're earth keepers. So, you find there's fairies, there's dragons, there's going to be centaurs, there's flying horses. All the creatures that we read about in the myths and things are real. We killed off a lot of them. A lot of them became extinct, but they're all going to be back. And actually in book 2, work with the fairies and with Gia to bring all those species that were non-existent back to Earth, off dimension again, not from where humans are. So 4 million dragons came back. Yay!
I love that.
Yeah.
Well, I work with dragons and fairies a lot. They're very
Cool.
a big part of our center. We have fairy homes and houses throughout the center, and I tell stories about our fairies. But talk to me a little bit about genies. I'm not as familiar with genies. What are genies?
They were created. Genies were created. And why were they created? They were created to be slaves. The genie that I meet in the first book is named Laponi. And one of my angel guides recommended that I work with him because he had a high integrity, okay? So found out that Laponi was created, get this, imagine the number 94 with 45 zeros after it. That's how old he is. First genie ever created. Why was he created? He was created to be a babysitter for the man who created him for his little boy, just to entertain. It's hard for me to imagine somebody that was of duality. Obviously, non-dual person would never create a genie, would never do that. So this man that created Laponi was a man of duality, to be a babysitter. And so the little boy grew up and he wasn't interested in playing with Laponi anymore. And the man, being of duality, used Laponi to fulfill his every wish, and Laponi made sure to do that. Guess what happened? The guy died, and then Laponi was free. So at the time that I first learned about genies, none of them were free. Usually, if their master died and they managed to get free, then usually they'd be snapped up again by another being of duality. But now they are all free. There's over 89,000 of them there, and it's been millennia since the Galactic Council allowed them to be created. So there's nobody creating genies anymore, but they are. I mean, Laponi is a master of creation. I mean, the things that he's capable of doing the cool thing is we're going to be able to do those same things. He was really interested when I first met him. He was being more entertainment. Creating the party, the big party at the end of the first book, where beings from all the non-dual worlds came to Tonos's spaceship and had a big party celebrating Earth. But can you imagine the genie who could be a fly on the wall? Can you imagine the spine capabilities of someone like that? So, they're wonderful. They're learning how to be free. They learned how to be free. They actually became SVH practitioners, Serenity Vibration Healing practitioners. There was a lot of reluctance with that at first because they thought we were trying to, control them or manipulate them. And then they realized, no, this is a way for you to be really free, because you clear your karma, you clear your old curses, your old contracts, you clear all that stuff. It's really a magical modality to use. So genies, well, Laponi is blue. He's got short curly brown hair. He's got a little bit of a belly. just, I guess for effect, he can look any way he wants. And I haven't met all of them, but most of them are blue. You never find a pink genie or a yellow genie I met a green genie, so they're blue or green, and they can create instantly.
That's pretty awesome.
Yeah,
that's pretty awesome. Talk to us a little bit about this healing modality that you talk about. That
Serenity Vibration Healing, and I have a separate website from my author website. It's www.thejoyoflife.info. And it's got, there's 3 levels of healing processes. I used to work with clients on the phone to do quantum level reprogramming. I don't really do that anymore, but the processes are fantastic. I mean, everybody would benefit from having at least the first level. You clear your death doors, you clear control compartments, you clear harm cords, you clear all kinds of direct. It'd be a great time for people to do something like that because it's like spring cleaning, and those kinds of things lower your vibration. So I'm a musician, and so when I heard about Serenity Vibration Healing, I thought, well, that sounds really cool. And it's been remarkable. It's the way that I've learned to do the work that I do, to channel, it's a form of astral traveling, but I take more of my energy body than you do when you astral travel. It's called we gate to different positions. So, I don't teach it anymore. I did, but there are practitioners that do teach it. You can buy those processes. I have it set up so that your God self works with my God self, and explain on the website how to take part, how to purchase those. Very uplifting.
Very cool. Very cool. I think a lot of our listeners might be really interested in that and being able to get some of that information.
For example, the first level of processes also includes something if you've been abducted by the Pleiadians. I imagine a lot of us have, because over 100,000 people are abducted every year. It makes it so that you never were. How do those abductions take place? Well, it's tracked through the mother line. That when they abduct a woman, they put a code on some of her eggs, and if that egg is birthed into a child, then that's child available to be abducted. So it takes those codes off so that it never happened. It's called galactic violation, prevents that. I mean, angelic rebirthing, so that no matter how traumatic your birth might have been in your old story, it wasn't in the new story. You're birthed into the angels, your guardian angels there, and anything that you heard in the womb that would have been traumatic, or your mother didn't love you, or any of that kind of stuff, it's all blocked. The angels are singing to you through your whole gestation. That's one of the processes. There's just magical stuff.
I love that. What's your perspective on karma? Do we have lots of karma? Where are we at?
I think people that have been, quote, working their path have gotten rid of a lot of their karma. I think that's just, Earth is evolving and we're evolving along with her. So if you think you have some, then, why not get rid of it? It's very easy to buy that level 1 process. It clears all your karma. It doesn't clear, if other people have karma with you, of course, it doesn't clear their karma, but it clears your karma with them. And anytime anybody's ever harmed you or you've ever harmed anybody, those cords are cut. Archangel Michael, those are gone. I just think it's magical to be able to have those kinds of things in your toolbox. That you've done that. You've taken that step to say, I'm ready to live a better life. I'm ready to let go of my garbage. Let go of that stuff that's been dragging along for me, and even clear genetic stuff in the physical stuff. You clear your DNA, you clear genetic predispositions to different diseases. It's just wonderful stuff. Serenity Vibration Healing. It's great. So what's my advice? Okay, if you want to help yourself remember how magical life on Earth really is, all right? start paying attention. Start listening to your heart. And I think if you read my blog articles, if you read any of my books, you're going to just go, oh, wow. Wow. Magic. We're magic. Our lives are magical, and we're so lucky to be here now. Everybody that's incarnated now is a master in remembering. We came here because this is the happening time, as I said earlier. It's the happening time because Earth is evolving. I mean, think about the millions upon millions, I don't know how many millions of years, Earth, and we're all in third dimension, and now that's gone. In 6 years, we lost, we lost the third dimension, and then 6 years later, we lost the fourth dimension. So, wow, things are speeding up. Get on the bandwagon. Dave, you got any questions for me? Or Violet, you got any more questions?
Well, you're talking about the karma and getting rid of it, and specifically, how would people look at releasing that karma? Do they have to find a way to drill into it? Can they meditate and release it?
Well, the only way that I know for sure is to purchase the level 1 Serenity Vibration Healing processes. It clears your karma in that.
Okay.
I don't know if other modalities address that or not. I felt physically different after I started putting these processes in place. I could tell things were working. And I hadn't really noticed that was maybe kind of with some other things I did. The Reiki was good, it was beneficial. But once I stumbled on this modality, it spoke to me, and it proved to me that I could feel different, that I could be different. I could live up to my name, which is joy. Mm-hmm. And most of my life, I was not joy. I was depressed. I was sad. Couldn't figure out why. I didn't even think about why I was here until, like I said, I was in my 40s. And it was like a wake-up call. That's what death doors are, by the way. They're wake-up calls. You people that almost die. Well, do we really need that anymore? I don't think so. Most of us are like, I'm awake. I don't need the trauma of, a car accident or cancer or all those things that could happen to wake me up. I'm awake now. Mm-hmm. And so when you put that process in place, Archangel Michael closes the death doors that are no in alignment with your higher path. Mm-hmm. I mean, there's an explanation about each of the processes on the website, on the joyoflife.info. And if you got questions, you can just email me because I'm on my computer off and on all day.
Okay. Sounds great. Tell us again about your books, since you have the Joy Chronicles.
The Joy Chronicles. Yep, there's 6 of them. The first one's Path of Sweetness. Second one's Blossoming of Love. First one, Path of Sweetness. I'm asking Ashtar Commander Tonos a lot of questions. You meet a fairy. At the end of the book, you meet a genie pretty early on in that book. Second book's called Blossoming of Love. You got a lot of fairy information. You got a lot of dragon information. The Joy Council's formed on the 10th dimension of the moon and on the inside of the earth. You can be part of that. You can meet people like sitting around the table like JFK, like Marilyn Monroe, like the Indians that I mentioned, like Osiris and Hathor and Abraham Lincoln, and cool people, okay? Sitting around this big table modeled after, because King Arthur's there and Guinevere and some of their knights, all right? Modeled after the round table, but it's oval because there's almost a couple hundred people there. So that's the second book. Third book, A Wish Granted. By the way, that's going to be featured at a London book fair, and it was selected by New York Times Magazine as the best book to read for the January issue of New York Times newspaper. A Wish Granted. That's one of my favorite books. It's one of the thickest ones, and it's got, oh my God, it's got everything in it. A lot of work with Laponi in there, a lot of hearing the stars. Each star has a consciousness, and matchmaking in the stars. I didn't realize what a matchmaker I was. Book 4 called Paths of Freedom. On the cover is a butterfly lady, and she was key in preventing a war in another universe. And we've rescued 123,000 kids stored in stasis in the third dimension. It was a lot of drama in book 4, a lot of like, oh my God, are we going to make it? Book 5, Return of Dragons, got a picture of the dragon prince Joya, born May of 2015, I think, 2015. A whole new dragon hierarchy once he was born. And book 6, Spaceship Earth, a lot of work about the tribes that we brought back, that Ashtar Command brought back that had become extinct. A lot of the indigenous tribes came back to assist Earth again, either cloaked or hidden so that, we didn't kill them again. There's lots of stuff. And there's going to be actually 4 more books that I haven't published yet. So better hop on the bandwagon and start reading now. So get caught up. I like to talk about the books. I'm glad that you had me on to speak about them today. And if people got questions, just email me, info@Joy Elaine, or you can go to my website, joyelaine.com. That's my book website, my author website.
Okay.
So,
That's all.
any more questions about dragons before I close?
I think we're about done. You've really filled us in today. That's been great. Thank you.
All right. Well, I've enjoyed talking with you both.
Okay.
I got to get out to visit you one time. I think Colorado would be really nice to get out there to Collins.
Yeah, you should come. We would love to host you at the center in Littleton. We have a big center there. You could speak, you could sign books, you could do all kinds of beautiful things and come to our center. We have lots of people that would love to meet you, I'm sure.
Well, hopefully when travel returns to more normal, that I can get out there.
We would love to have you. Just let us know when you're coming.
All right.
Thank you again, Joy, for being with us today. Thank you to all our listeners for listening to the show. Our guest in the next show is palm reader Myrna Lou Goldbaum. Please stay with us for messages from several of our practitioners at DYSG. A lot of great information. Have a great week.
Hi, my name is Tiffany, and I am an intuitive person along with being a meditation and Qigong teacher. I have traveled the world to meet amazing teachers, and they have taught me all about Qi energy and the Taoist way. Now, these teachers taught me a beautiful practice called Samphot meditation. Now, this is an ancient Chinese wisdom of understanding the Dantian energy elixir. And I'm telling you, this energy elixir is crazy powerful. This ancient Taoist Chinese practice has changed my life, and I want to share this transformational energy with you. Do you want to heal mind, body, spirit? Do you want to break and change old patterns that hold you back? Do you want to open up your heart chakra and move more love into your life? Do you want more joy in just being you? Do you want to tap into your higher self? Then come explore this ancient Taoist wisdom with me. This isn't just a meditation class. We connect, we move, we explore, and we create. Come join me every Monday morning from 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. at Discover Your Spiritual Gifts. I look so forward to seeing you there.
Hi, my name is Christina Morris. I am the founder and president of Balance and Bliss Energy Healing. I'm a medical intuitive and high vibrational healer. I work with the energy fields. My scope of practice is energy medicine. Anything above and beyond that, for outside care, we'll need to refer you out there. But I do use crystals and aromatherapy in my healings. And I help manage pain. We help move some of the pain out of the body that might be coming from stagnant energy within the field, as well as, we get to the root of the problem with, any emotional trauma and find out what's going on that could be causing more stagnant energy to be left in your aura, which in turn can cause illness and pain and a lot of other issues that we tend to see throughout our day-to-day lives. And then I can be reached by appointment. You can make appointments anytime, any day of the week. I do work Monday through Friday in the evenings from about 5:30 to 8:30. Your first session can be about an hour and a half because we get to know one another. We kind of go through what's going on. And then any session thereafter would run about 50 minutes to an hour. And I can be reached through my website at balanceandblissenergyhealing.com. My email is balanceandblissenergyhealing@gmail.com. And I can also be reached via phone or text at 720-696-0286. And I look forward to any potential clients. If you have any referrals or if you are in need of any of my services, I look forward to working with you.
I am Deborah Peter. I am a craniosacral therapist. I had a career in accounting and finance for 20 years and had an opportunity to change pathways and decided to pursue a career in massage therapy because I was fascinated with the body. And that career in massage therapy then led me to craniosacral therapy. Craniosacral therapy is a body work modality that works with the nervous system and is beneficial for anything that the nervous system plays a part in. That includes trauma, any tension patterns in the body that are being held by the muscles or the fascia, headaches, chronic pain or any pain that the medical community has not been able to find a reason for. So basically anything that the nervous system has a part in. A session is often generally 60 to 90 minutes long. The person relaxes on a massage table, fully clothed. The session can sometimes involve dialoguing, or the person is just able to go into a deeply relaxed state. The therapist, myself, looks for tension patterns and feels for tension patterns in the body and looks to help the body release those tension patterns. In this world, we're often in a state of fight or flight, and this work helps bring the body down into more of a rest and digest space, which is really where healing happens, because the body has its own way of healing. And I'm there to support the person in their process of releasing restrictions and tension patterns and emotions that are often held in the body and limiting their ability to fully engage in the world. I'm available Monday through Friday from 10 a.m. to 6:30 p.m. I have offices in Inglewood as well as Littleton here at Discover Your Spiritual Gifts. If you'd like to schedule an appointment, you can reach me at my website at harmonyridgemassage.com, or you can give me a call at 303-725-5800. I also offer a 20-minute free consultation over the phone if anybody's interested in more information or to find out if craniosacral therapy could help them with anything that they're dealing with. I look forward to working with you.
Discover connection, awaken sacredness, become empowered. Join us for our show on Blog Talk Radio.